And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose. So God is able to work all things, not just some things, not just a few things, maybe not just one isolated incident by itself, but through the weaving of many experiences, all things along life's journey, he works all things. He works everything for good. And this promise, Romans 8:31, what then shall we say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? Now, I realize that it's easy to read these verses, but sometimes, depending on what you've been through in your life, you may have a hard time really accepting what the Bible is saying. Hey, sure, I believe God is for me, but it seems like there are an awful lot of people out there who are against me. Or maybe you're thinking, at Greenwood, if you had any idea what I have been through, you would know that all of it worked out bad. But I want to provoke you to begin by loving yourself first. Love yourself like nobody else can, like nobody else has loved you. And begin to move by faith. Start heading toward a different destination, if only in your mindset. If I ever sat down and told you all the things that I have lived through, I pretty much guarantee it would shock you. I have been exploited, I have been assaulted, I have been abused, I have been through some very dark days. And for a long time, I could not even forgive some people. But eventually, by the grace of God, I got there. And then I realized it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to forgive, but then hold on to my belief that most things in life had worked out badly. So I myself started right where I am asking you to start, with a question that will lead to success. Start with something that is rooted in faith. Decide to simply ask yourself the question, how is all of this going to work out for my good? And eventually, gradually, it changed the way I saw everything. The situations and the people that had hurt me the most had made me the strongest. Eventually, I was strong enough to sit across the table from some of them, and with the full knowledge of what they had done, what had happened, I could say to them, thank you for helping me. Thank you for helping me. And the displacement of power, the distortion of truth that had allowed certain individuals to believe they could overpower me or abuse me completely came back into correct alignment. It was like this revelation that Joseph had in Genesis 50:20. It took a deep breath and it just came to life right inside my very being. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Some crazy stuff happened to Joseph, but he got to this place inside his own soul where he could say, all things work for good. And honestly, I believe there are people listening to this message right here, and there's maybe even a Joseph-type anointing on your life. You already know it, and I know how to get you to that location. It's right at the corner of thank you for helping me, and all things work out for my good.